Hey all, here at OSMVTXReads.com, you're watching our retro review of the Panasonic NeoFile Business Card Reader Plus. This device was released back in 1995, and back then it was kind of a huge deal, and it was actually featured in Popular Magazine, Popular Mechanics, and such magazines, and it was being advertised as a personal database computer for you to scan business cards, and then it would automatically electronically save the information from your scanned cards, such as the name, the email, the phone number, the address, onto the device, and then you can either carry it with you or connect it to a PC and then transfer your information into your computer. This device actually originally retailed for over $400, which was extremely expensive, and actually it did not come with an AC adapter or PC computer cable in the box. Those were all optional accessories, so in grand total it would cost over $500, which is extremely expensive. Now, some features of the NeoFile when it first came out included the built-in audio scanner, so it merges a tiny little scanner on here. Just for a size comparison, I have a HTC Titan, which is a 4.7-inch Windows phone, and you can see this is a pretty giant super phone, and in terms of size comparison, the NeoFile is even larger, but it's still a relatively pocketable device if you're considering it merges both a scanner and, as you can see here, a full LCD display. It's quite large, and a QWERTY keyboard. So other functions include a 240 by 160 LCD display. It's monochrome, of course, without backlight. It has 640 kilobytes of RAM, which is pretty tiny. However, you could store a few hundred business cards without any problem. Unfortunately, there wasn't any expansion card slot for you to upgrade the memory. There's also a scan and recognition software, which actually works very, very well. The address book, the reservation book, notebook, there's a calendar, a scheduler, a world time, and a clock. There's also a map function on here, as well as a multifunction calculator, scientific and ordinary. The specific model for this is the CFCR100 series. So you can still actually find this online at eBay.com for around $350 as a collectible item, just for FYI. Taking a closer look at the design, again, it's pretty much just made entirely out of a black slab of plastic. You can see this is where the business card will actually come out after it's scanned. The side on the right features the power on and off switch, which is pretty easy to press. The back of the unit houses the PC-Link connection cable slot, as well as a proprietary charging cable for you to power the device. You can also charge the device via a AAA batteries. It actually uses 6 AAA batteries, which is quite a lot. As far as battery life is concerned, it's not the best. We found that it could scan about 50 business cards or so before the battery really ran out. Interestingly, this device also houses a sub-battery, which is actually a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. It's a cell battery, which is very tiny and difficult to replace. Now, because this device has been released over 10 years ago, unfortunately the sub-battery has essentially become dead, but we haven't gotten the time to actually replace the sub battery. We have to rely on the standard primary battery. So you're going to see some notifications once we turn on the unit that says the sub battery, which is low, which is actually the cell battery that's in here. This actually stores all your information, so when you're transferring your batteries from the AAA slot, you won't lose any of your information stored on here for a few minutes. As you can see here, the device was also made in Japan, so it is a very premiumly built device overall. Very solidly built, and not too heavy, but not too light either. Flipping it open, you can see that you have a very large display. It's actually a monochrome one, like we said, but it is a transflective one, so you can actually see it under direct sunlight as well. On the left-hand side of the display, you'll find some basic notifications, such as your person, company, job title, address, telephone, fax, which are your basic information that will be stored on the unit after you scan in a business card. As you can see here, this is a place where you actually put in the card and scan it. So we have a dozen or so cards here for demonstration purposes that we're going to go through and see how the device still fares in today's modern day business card arena. And you can see also here you have some button controls, including a D-pad, some numeric controls for your calculator, some additional functions, including a toolkit, calculator, world time, function keys, which you'll need to navigate to unit, and of course that QWERTY keyboard. The buttons are risen above the surface and pretty easy to press, but they are very gel-like, so they don't have too much of a tactile response to them. So if we turn on the unit, as you can see here, the sub-battery is low, but if we just ignore that and press enter, we can start with the scan function, which is right on top here. And as far as scanning is concerned, it's a pretty easy ordeal. If we have a example card here, let's try a easy to read one first, such as this 911 driving school one. It tells you to actually place the card face down. So if I want to scan this side, I'm going to place this face down. Now this card is bent, so obviously there's going to be some distortions when it's reading the scanned image, but we're going to try it anyways and see how it fares. So we put it in here, and the scanning will start. It's going to go to the other side and come back out. So it's a very, very cool little unit, even though in today's standards people can probably just take a picture with their smartphone and consider that their scanner, but this is a very cool mechanicalized function. on this particular device, but still makes a pretty nifty and cool device overall. As you can see, the scanned image has turned out on the screen, which looks very low resolution until you start the recognition software by pressing the function F3 key. And then you'll see that actually will go through each line of text and actually translate it and save it and process it into an electronic version for you to save on a database, which is very more comprehensive than on a business card. And there you go, it's done. Of course, there's some errors here and there, but overall, it's still very accurate. You can see here it shows your time and date, the name of the business card, the address, the location. You also have the email and the phone number, and it also works pretty well. You can also edit this information if something happens to be wrong. For example, let's say we want to erase the 2 dash marks. We can just go to that place and then press the delete key on the keyboard, and it will do the trick. So it works pretty well as far as that's concerned. Let's get another card, and we will discard this one and see how it fares with something a little bit more difficult to read, perhaps because it's a little bit more fancy. For example, this blue one, I'm a little bit concerned if the background is going to be too interesting or too strange, but we're going to try it anyways. As you can see, it just scans it in and then takes it out. It takes about 60 seconds or so for the unit to process a card and to get it fully scanned. Function 3. And it looks actually pretty good. It's not too terribly bad. We can see that we have some information on here popping up on screen. It says it's actually not as good as the last one, actually. It just says that save money on your water hill. It should be water bill, as you can see here. And there's some issues there. I think I knew the problem, though. I put in the card maybe backwards, and that's perhaps the reason. This is actually the back of the card. Let's scan that one more time. Sorry, folks. This time with the back. There we go. Function F3. Now this is a lot harder to see because the background is, see, the recognition actually failed, as you can see here, because the contrast between the lettering and the background is so similar, and so for this reader of this age, it's actually not going to read very fancy cards. So that's something to take note of. Ordinary cards, however, should work fine, such as this black and white card. Let's try this one. So if we want to scan another one, this is some help software telling you how to use the scanner. There's instruction manual built in. Let's exit help by pressing F1. F3 is done. Recognition failed. F1, okay. So try and scan this one and see if that works. And there you go. Let's try and press F3 if that will work. Now, as you can notice from this business card, there's a stripe in the middle, which is actually a sticker. So let's see if it can actually get away with having a sticker on the business card and still be able to read it. It seems to actually work pretty well. This is a real estate business card, and it's actually working. Very cool. And Chinese letters, of course, are not probably going to be recognized, but let's just see how it fares first. And there we go. So Seattle, it looks like all the addresses and the numbers are correct. Now there's some issues with the mistyping down below here. As you can see here, it's because probably of the stripes that are blocking the recognition software. But overall, it seems to be pretty accurate. The name and everything is actually correct. So say that we're done with this, of course you can save it, and how you would save it is you would store by pressing F3, and then you can store it to either 3 categories. This includes the address book, a contact card for day-to-day usage, a reservation book, and also an owner profile, so your own cards. And you can save it, for example, to address book, and then it's going to be done, and you are finished by pressing 1. So too many name categories, select only one. In this case, there's too many lettering words in the name category. We have to erase them, but otherwise it will work. Taking a quick look at some of the other functions. If you press the bookshelf key, it's going to take you to the main menu. I'm going to delete this. It's going to take you to address book, reservation book, and then you can search up your contacts either by name or by other functions, and it works pretty well. You can search up, again, last name or first name or telephone number or address, and it will bring up all the information it stores for one particular person that it has for one particular business business card. There's also here the calendar, which works pretty simple. It's pretty well. The world time, which works pretty well as well. It's a basic little map that shows you your time, the calculator, and that's basically it as far as it's concerned. You can check up on your battery as well, your backup, your store, and also your setup for settings. And essentially, that is all for this device. This is a very interesting little gadget. Of course, it allows you to scan business cards on the go. This would have been a very ideal device, even probably in today's standards, for business card travelers or business people on the go. You could probably take it to conferences and meetings. For example, in Barcelona, Spain, we have a Mobile World Congress, and if you want to go there, go to a different booth where everyone has a name card or a name tag with them, and you can scan several dozen of them and then take it with you as an electronic copy, which would be both efficient and interesting. However, in today's standards, it probably would be better just to use a smartphone camera to capture a digital copy, but you don't have the recognition software like this device has on your phone, and that's a differentiating factor. Anyways, a very interesting retro review and look back at the Panasonic NeoFile card scanner, and I guess that even in today's standards, it has some usages, and we're still waiting for Panasonic to perhaps release another iteration for modern-day smartphone users. Perhaps a Bluetooth-enabled version that allows you to connect to your smartphone would be more practical and more useful. Thanks for watching here at osmbtxreads.com. This has been our retro video review of the Panasonic NeoFile.